Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be reviewing tips for troubleshooting the EVAP Purge Valve on this 2014 Chevy Cruze. Now let's get started. Some of the symptoms associated with a faulty EVAP Purge Valve include rough idle, poor engine performance, a rough start after filling up the tank, and the ever-present engine code P0496. This valve controls fuel vapors from your gas tank and mixes them with the air mixture that's coming in through the air filter as part of the combustion process. Before we just jump right into the purge valve, we're going to check a couple of things to make sure that we're not replacing the purge valve unnecessarily. So first thing we're going to do is locate the purge valve. And the purge valve is located right here. It's this little canister right here. And you'll see that there's hoses connected to the purge valve. So there's a connection here, and there's a connection here, right down here under the engine block. There's also a connection on that side. And all three of these connections are sealed with O-rings. And that could be part of the problem. So you'll want to check and clean these O-rings prior to replacing the purge valve. Okay, so that's one thing you definitely want to do. If you still have a check engine light, second thing you want to do is check your fuel cap. If your vehicle is over, say, 90,000 miles, maybe 120,000 miles, you definitely want to think about replacing your fuel cap, which is less expensive than the EVAP purge valve. There's a seal on the gas cap that essentially is the same as these little O-ring seals here. And if that gas cap isn't sealing, you're going to throw the same code. Now let's circle back to our purge valve. Let's go ahead and replace our EVAP valve. So let's go ahead and do that. And our supply list today includes maybe a small amount of lubrication oil for these O-rings, possibly replacing the gas cap, the EVAP purge valve, and we have a very small flat tip screwdriver. And that's all. There's a red clip right here, and you're gonna have to go underneath this red clip and pull it out. And just know that any of these clips in this area are very fragile. They're subject to a lot of heat. This is not my favorite type of clip, but that's what they've installed. And I just want to warn you to be careful, be gentle when you're dealing with these clips. You'll see there's a small little gap on this side. You can slide the screwdriver under there, lift up. So I lifted it up and you'll see it just slides right off. Okay. Next, you're going to disconnect the electrical connector by carefully depressing this end right here. Same thing goes for plastic cautions. Okay, pull that off. Next, this one was a little tricky on this side. It looks like you need to pull it off, but really you don't. You have to depress it. So you're going to squeeze very tightly and then slide it off. All right, that's my pro tip there. Next, you're going to slide off the purge valve, and you'll see what you have here. There's a little, I don't know what you call it here. It's a little rubber piece, but this rubber piece stays with the car. And if you are replacing this item, you're gonna reuse this rubber piece right in here on the new piece. Okay, so don't lose this. So here's our purge valve right here, pretty straightforward. You can check the function of this valve by blowing into this or applying pressure to this right here. And if it holds pressure, that means the valve is still good. And you'll see that there's an arrow going in that direction right there. So this is our new valve. I'm gonna install our little rubber piece right there. Okay, there's a blade right here. So you're gonna slide this right back up and onto the blade. Now you're going to reconnect this right here. And be careful, use two hands. You saw it clicked right in place, pretty easy. Same thing for the other side. It slides in place, and then you have to depress this. Okay? You're just gonna press it down so that the clip holds. You have to really, there you go. I really pushed it up onto the valve itself and it clicked. You guys heard that. Lastly, we're gonna connect the electrical connector, but before I connect it, I'm gonna look at this gasket here and make sure that it's not distorted or anything, because this is actually a waterproof connection. It has its correct shape, and I'm going to push it on here. You guys heard the click. Well, that about wraps up our video on the EVAP Purge valve and how to troubleshoot some of the possible issues with the trouble code. I hope you found my tips to be helpful. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, drive defensively.